Welcome to Spotlight New England. I'm one of your hosts, Audrey McClelland.
And I'm Ashley Erling.
Oh.
We are I feel like I'm trying to usher in the summer weather with this dress.
You actually
today.
are channeling it quite beautifully today.
It's that time of year where you're like, you know what? I'm just ripping the Band-Aid and I'm going full summer.
It's
Even
June.
though it's like sometimes feels like it sometimes doesn't.
Yeah.
But I had to go.
No, I love this. It's very colorful. It's very bright. It's very you. It does give me like summer vibes.
But I definitely have summer on the mind, and I am definitely not the only one because, I actually learned this from you, that Pinterest puts out, a lot of places do it, but Pinterest puts out kind of different things that they're forecasting.
Right.
Like trend reports that they're forecasting.
Right. They're better than Google, I swear, on the trends.
I don't know. I mean, the accuracy level, I have no idea, but they do, it definitely seems to reflect what's going on. So
Yes.
I was looking up today what the summer trend forecast was.
I love this.
From Pinterest, which I found very interesting. And so I think I have some of
let's
it on
check
my
this
phone.
out.
Okay, so
Okay, there we go.
have digital detox.
Okay.
Okay, so like people, this is kind of based on like what people are searching for within Pinterest, and they're a little bit all over the map. But digital detox, so people were like trying to look up ways to disconnect.
I could see
things
that.
to do to disconnect, and even kind of like vacations where they could disconnect. So that was a big one. The next one, definitely Martha Stewart aesthetic. That is like everywhere right now. So meaning like
I've seen a lot of this.
Martha Stewart summer, like farming, gardening, like having like beautiful
hydrangeas in your kitchen.
beautiful dinner parties. So it's like all encompassing. It's like all lifestyle things, like people, wanting to have that kind of.
It's that aspirational feel too.
Aspirational feel. Okay, then it was rustic retreats and farmhouse style. Now that's more about what your home looks like.
Okay.
Like your home style. So that's more of like what people were searching for in home decor and what they want going on.
So rustic farmhouse style.
Yes, so like which is not me whatsoever.
I was going to say definitely not me.
That's not my style whatsoever, but that is like what people are
That's what people are looking up on
Yep.
Pinterest right now. Okay.
And then nature and literary escapes, which I thought this was interesting. So this is kind of going more towards vacation and things like that. Of what people are going to be like looking to do this summertime.
Okay.
And a lot more people were trying to look up getaways that had some aspect of nature involved.
So would you say camping?
I mean, camping A-frames in the woods, but also books. A lot of people are doing.
I love that.
Like book escapes now, and I don't remember where I saw it, but I saw somewhere something about how people, probably Instagram or TikTok.
I was going to say it had to be TikTok.
People holding these kind of like book retreats.
Yes.
That are almost like camp style.
Yes.
So like camping, but like almost like
you're allowed to read the whole time. Is that
am
wrong?
I think what part of it is there's an itinerary that revolves around books that people are reading, but then there's like arts and crafts.
that
there's
would be
like
cool.
S'mores by the fire.
Okay, I could see that.
And that kind of a thing.
I have to say, when we had Julie Gerstenblatt on the show this week, she had mentioned that she goes on like writers' retreats in the summer.
I think it's like similar to something like that almost.
Okay.
Like a
Which I think was great. Like, the itinerary
some activities,
around.
but like, like themed activities, but also
actually wouldn't mind going on like a book retreat. If it was like, like a steamy cowboy romance.
And this is where you and I differ a little bit. But
on a rodeo.
But that's okay. That's what,
yeah.
I just think it's fun when maybe, people. That's just not my genre. That's all.
You'd be in Nantucket.
I would be in. That would be. Okay. I would be like in Nantucket, going to the places that Ellen has written about.
Definitely.
In her book.
Yes.
Having cocktails at Crew.
Yes.
Lobster rolls on the beach.
And I'm looking for the cowboys in Texas with no shirts on and all the hats. That kind of breaks it down as to like what we like to be.
That really does.
Yeah.
That sums it up well. So if you're looking ahead to summer and wondering what people are doing, that's what people are doing.
That's what people are doing. But that is a good spot, though, to check out different trends.
You and I like Pinterest a lot.
Yeah, we do. I love it. It's like a visual playground.
I really like it. I've been using it a lot for wedding stuff. So.
Right, absolutely. I use it for like hairstyles and like, just like even like teen, like things that they're into, teen makeup and, beauty products. So it is a great place to go. But we have an awesome show today.
I'm so excited.
This is going to be a big treat for us. We have a guest on with us whom you're going to meet her in a second, but we just love her to pieces, and she has a gift and a talent that not many people have. So make sure you stick around. We will be right back. Welcome back to Spotlight New England. So we are back with Jessica Starr. She's a psychic medium. And I have to say, I had a reading done about a week and a half ago, and she was so accurate across the board that it just kind of blew me away. So I was so excited that she's going to come in and talk with us. Jessica, you're here.
Welcome.
And Jessica normally doesn't do a lot of like this stuff. So I'm so excited.
No, I'm behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You are behind the scenes.
Which I thought was really interesting too. Like you just kind of know like how you want to operate and what you want to do. So we appreciate you coming in here.
So, yes. I'm so excited. And I wanted to see you guys. We met at a beautiful ladies dinner recently, and I met you, and it was great. So.
I know. You're the best. And our friend, Dr. Daryl, who any of our viewers would know as well, because we've had her on the show, just speaks so highly of you.
You're like family to her.
We are like family. She's a dear friend of mine. So people always think, oh, is she a client? I'm like, she is very close to me in numerous ways otherwise.
Yeah. I love that.
She's phenomenal. She's a huge reason why I have like the platform I have, even though if you ask her that, she's like, no, that's not true.
Because that's
You've done this your entire life. You're fine.
It is. But like, I want to dive right in.
Let's do it.
I have to say, you are, I couldn't believe how accurate you were. And it was funny because even I was telling Ashley this, even when I was doing the reading, I kept saying, and because you almost can't help it, like, how did you know that?
How do you know?
How did, like, you, this just,
and it just, that's what I did.
And that's what you kept saying. You're
it's
like,
my job.
because I do. Because I do. And it was funny because even things that, at that moment you kept saying to me, just write these names down or these dates, because you do feel sometimes on the spot like, oh my goodness, I don't want to waste her time if I can't remember something in the moment, and you're like, just write it down and it will come back to you. But the cool thing is we did it over the phone. So let's start with that. How you do your gift, how you do your readings over the phone. How was that? How do you do that?
Because everything's energy. So for me, this is a gift. I was born with it. This wasn't something I did any like special schooling or anything. I was born with it since as long as I can remember, 2 or 3 years old. My first memories were more mediumship, connecting to spirit.
Now, how did you? At the time, did you know that it was something that other people didn't necessarily have, but you just always had that?
I had just fallen into it. In my family, they never, said this isn't right. I would talk about, family members that had passed, and you describe situations that had happened, go to locations that, were haunted and say, oh, this gentleman's here. But it would be very descriptive. And she's had a reading, so she understands it's very, very detailed. And people would be like, okay, but no one made me feel like it was wrong.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, I knew I was different. And I just grew into it. It just always grew as I got older, but it wasn't something, at 24, this was what I wanted to do. It's something that I've always had the gift of, always.
And so like when the calling came that you really wanted to start, because in the readings that you do, they're a gift because they give resolution probably to people. They make them feel better, maybe if they're going through grief at the moment.
Of course, yeah.
Or just like a sense of, like I felt when I was off with you, like a sense of like peacefulness. Just more or less like, she connected with my Nana. And it was funny because my daughter was named after my Nana. And immediately, I remember you saying, she hasn't met your daughter. Like, and again, Jessica would have had no idea to know the details that she was pulling. And it gave me a very sense of peace to know that these loved ones that I genuinely miss are here.
Right.
Like they're here. They see what's going on, and they are aware of people and places.
They're always here.
But like it was a gift. What does it feel like to know that you're able to give people a sense of peacefulness or calmness?
It's terrifying and half really beautiful and peaceful, because it is something that it's a gift. Tarot is one thing. You can kind of learn tarot.
Yeah.
I'd like to say maybe not as much as I do, because the details I've given you were like, wait, what? But I think I know the importance of grief, and I've lost so many dear friends, family members. I know that feeling of please give me a message. And that's why I like to be so detailed as well. And I think even in our reading, and I won't get into details, but just stuff behind the scenes, right? We live in a day and age of Google and Instagram and TikTok, and you can look up anything. I make sure with my clients that it does not matter who you are. I am going to tell you things I absolutely shouldn't know. And so for her reading, her grandmother was really talking about, behind the scene conversations in the inside of her parents' home, things that just you shouldn't know. So someone can't be like, oh, she might have looked up something.
Right,
She might have Googled me. And I'm big about future focused as well.
Yeah, you
with my
are.
tarot. And I do that on purpose. Once again, depending on if my clients have a lot of info online, I don't want them to feel like, did she look me up?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I feel like when you're paying for something, the goal is to find out about the future. If you want to talk about the past, go to Daryl.
Right,
She's
right,
a therapist, right? So we don't need to harp on the past. You don't need to pay me to go over your, ex-boyfriend or a bad situation. We want to know.
Therapist
and
for
my
that.
timeline, and I told her, is about a year and a half out. So you really know that bulk of what's coming up.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful gift to give. I know how important grief is. I know how important messages are, and people really, my goal is when you get on the phone with me, I want you getting off the phone with just an unbelievable amount of details and feeling lighter than when you got on the phone. It's scary to get on the phone with me.
Yeah,
you're like,
it
what
is.
is this going to be like? But it's always casual.
Yeah.
I'm super, super down to earth. I make everyone feel comfortable.
Yeah, you do.
Everyone connects too. There's never this idea of, oh, no one's coming through. I mean,
interesting.
You can ask her.
Is that true?
We were yapping on the phone about silly stuff, and then I got right down to business.
Yeah,
and
she
it
did.
was an hour of just straight detail after detail. This date, this name, this person. And she's like, how do you know this?
Well, she kept saying to me too, and you'll remember this, but in the reading, she kept saying to me about something that my Nana had, and she's like, it's on like to the left of you.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, Jessica, like I don't know, I'm gonna have to write this down, and I'll remember in a second. And then we'd go on, and then Jessica's like, Audrey, she needs this, like, kind of like, you need to, is
like
there
the
something to the left of you?
Yeah.
So finally I like literally, you had, I think at one point said, turn and look left.
Yeah, I said, turn to your left and look.
And I
think
did,
it was
and
the
I had
locket.
forgotten. My daughter had brought in my Nana's locket the night before and asked me, Mom, I just found this in your drawer.
How funny.
And it was a picture of my Nana and my Papa.
So important.
And that's when I was just like, oh my
Right.
God. Like,
You're
that,
like,
no one would have known
nothing.
that.
I don't know.
I
was
kept
laughing
saying that.
with
Did
all
I
that.
not?
That's the thing. Well, I won't, and I'm sure we'll do a reading soon, you and I, Ashley. But the thing I will say is, it won't take up your time from the reading. I'll say, just write it down. So
Yeah,
we can get as
you're
much
great
info
like
in as
that.
possible.
Yeah, right.
I don't
You're
wanna
like, let's not
pause.
like harp on it.
Right.
And then
You
by
can't.
the end, it's, your time's up, your money's up. No,
Yeah.
I'm like, let's keep going.
Let's keep
and
going.
And then after decompress, take a deep breath, go over it.
And then you'll be like, oh my gosh.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me what happens, aside from like the readings, even just in your everyday life. Like, what happens to you? How does this happen? What is going on, in your brain and your body when things start coming through? Like, for those of us who do not have this gift that you have, what is it? Like, how is this coming forth?
I'm in a constant state of fight or flight or panic attack, just because I'm getting so much info fed to me all the time. And so, big crowds, concerts, weddings, anywhere I'm with a lot of people, it's just so much energy coming through. And I just kind of have to shut it down. And that's it, because I can't give everyone a reading.
No.
And there's a time and a place. I won't just walk up to someone and give them a reading. I find it inappropriate. And I like to do the phone as well. It gives me options to reach people around the world.
Right.
That, maybe they can't get to me in Boston, or they're immobile, or it's just, it opens up that for me so much. And I'm so grateful for that as well. And people think, why the phone? Like, how is that? How can you do that? Because energy, it's a gift of mine. I don't need to see you in person. I don't need to do a tell. I don't need to look at what you're wearing. I don't need to try to gauge you from, it's never going to be this, like, it's just beautiful. It's really great, and I love it so much. I'm so grateful for my clients. I love them. I want everyone to get what they need out of it, because like she said, grief, it's just so many people have lost people that they love, and it's so important. And the messages too, and she can tell you, they're not always so and so was at your wedding, so and so was at this. It's very mundane things, and I think we need to keep that in mind, that when we lose our loved ones and we're having a terrible day and we're in bed and maybe we haven't done the laundry, I called her out for stuff inside the house, and it's beautiful to know, like, they're there for those little moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? They're not just there for graduations and weddings and babies. They are, but they're also there for the stuff when we feel really alone and just hopeless, and you're in your car crying, and it's, not this big thing. And I like that for people, that they get to know, oh my gosh, why do you know that? That must be true. My dad must be here. My mom must be here.
Yeah.
She kept saying my Nana was saying the lights are always on.
Yeah.
The lights are always on.
Like, or like her, she was saying different things in the home, or different things, she's had private conversations with you, and it's just beautiful. It's great.
I was going to ask you, do you think that people send signs to
Absolutely. 1,000%.
And like what, so like I did some light reading after my father passed away about like signs and things like that. And just like kind of like maybe like what to look for. Like how do you see things manifest for people if there are people who are watching who are kind of like maybe looking for that? Like, can you look out for signs, or do they just hit you when they hit you? Like how do you think people send signs?
I think that it's devastating, and we all know, everyone in this room, that we've all gone through grief, and I think we put blinders on to signs a lot because we want it so deeply. Like, send me a butterfly, send me a mockingbird,
and you want it to be so like
you'll ignore
in your
it
face
sometimes.
almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we're always in fight or flight when it comes to our own grief. So sometimes people put blinders on, and even if it's you walk into Target and it's your dad's favorite song, that's a sign because it was something so personally with him, and people kind of ignore it. I think as human beings, we're on a hamster wheel and we ignore signs. Your loved ones are always here. Yeah. They're always here. So they're always going to give you signs, but a lot of times they correlate with things that you would know about your dad. Special things, right? Like little things, tidbits of things he would love if you walk into a store and it says it on a sign, or something he would correlate with. And I never tell anyone it's not a sign if that's what resonates with you.
Right, 100%.
So yes, signs are absolutely there all the time. I ignore them, which is hilarious. The irony of that is insane. I'm like, that can't be my Nana, that can't be my best friend. And they'll be so pretty on the nose too. And it's just like, whatever.
So like, Jessica, yes.
It's us, we're here.
I think it's also a thing of just like kind of like remembering to like slow down and notice things, because like you were saying, we are so fast paced in life and always running around and blasting the radio or like doing a million things, and like you can miss things. So I just kind of like the message also of just like trying to like be more aware of your surroundings.
Try to be more aware, and don't make yourself feel dumb. I hear that so much from clients.
Interesting.
I feel dumb. I saw this and it reminded me of my mom, but I'm embarrassed. It couldn't possibly be a sign. And I think that's probably people's logical brains.
That's interesting.
Or they're told that's not
that
real.
makes sense.
But we have such a connection. There's such a thin veil that there's such a connection with our loved ones, and they watch over us, and they're here all the time. And I actually explained to her in her reading as well, and we won't get into too many details, but I even said some of the stuff that was, down at a certain grave.
Yes, you did.
And I think that's important to remember when we do memorial sites, when we do graves, they're not there because they're stuck there. They're there because we're there. And so they'll be by our side. Point. And I talk to clients all the time, and I said, oh, you went down Mom's grave the other day on this day, on a Tuesday, and this is what you put down there, and people are like, how do you know this? And it's because she's there with you. She's visiting with you because she knows you're there, but they're not stuck there.
It's a nice thought, actually.
It is a nice thought.
You put it that way.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It's like somewhere you can go to connect that they'll be, but they're not just lonely.
No, they're not lonely. Because it was my husband's best friend. And it's funny too, because Jessica's so great, because I remember you had said it was somebody like in a uniform and Navy, and you're like, and I said, oh, it must be my grandfather, and she never says no.
I don't know, it's someone else, and this is the age, and this is where it was, and this is the weekend.
And then she had said,
like, you know what, I remember, like, this is
it was like 2 days before
and
we went to visit.
And then we got into even more details about that person.
Wow.
Yeah, so she really, I mean, again, nobody would know. That is, and like to your point, Jessica, because everyone's like, oh, they can look it up.
Nope.
I never post that stuff online. It's a private thing for our family.
Yes.
It's a private thing for their family, and I would never do that. So the fact that you were able to pull all those details,
and I'm not afraid to say no. I'm not a yes girl.
I love that.
I'm not.
One of the things I do really love about you is that you're so real.
Like
you're just like a girlfriend.
It felt like I was talking to a girlfriend.
Yeah, like it's very.
We hit it off immediately.
You and I were on the phone for like 4 hours.
I was like, she is a new girlfriend.
Phone. I was like, I have laundry. She's like, I do too. Like, we've got to go.
You're like, my phone is dying.
Yeah. I want every single client to feel comfortable with me. I don't care walks of life, age, income. I want you to come to me. I want you to feel comfortable. Yeah. And I love it. It's my favorite thing. Yeah,
because you do the group, not just the private.
And tarot, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I do tarot as well. So, and that's the great thing about my career. I'm able to do both. She did a blend. People like to do tarot, what's coming up financially, what's coming up job-wise, mediumships connecting to our loved ones in spirit. A lot of people like to do the blend. I will do in-person events, in-person parties, charity events, things of that nature, but it's just amazing. And I love it so much.
How can people find you, reach out to you if they are interested in having a phone conversation with you?
So it's funny. I stay behind the scenes. We talked about
you do. I know. You're so low key.
Yeah, I don't want to get big into marketing. It's very word of mouth. I think word of mouth has been huge for me just because I want clients to feel comfortable knowing someone had a great experience. Yeah. I want to come to her. I don't need elaborate, billboards and elaborate marketing and stuff like that. I think they can get a hold of me through my email, medium Jessica Starr with 2 R's at gmail.com.
Coolest name ever, by the
way. Best name.
And if you follow these lovely ladies or the Road Show, I'm also on there as well, which is Jessica Starr. And if you add me, if you message me on there, I'm very quick to respond.
That's amazing.
It really is.
We can get further into it.
And I have to say too, because this is one thing, like, because you are right, Jessica, we ended up chatting for a bit afterwards, but she's a mother and she's a daughter, and you are just so, in love with those two roles as well.
Yeah.
That's
You're like
why a real person.
No, and that's why we really wanted to have you on, because you have an amazing gift, but she's just also, you're just like a regular girl too. And like it is like talking to a girlfriend when you're on with you. You made it so like just easy. I was like nervous and excited, and the second I heard your voice, I just calmed right down.
Isn't that crazy? People
just
say that
immediately
to me all the time because you don't know what to expect when you're going to call a psychic, right, or a medium, and they're like, "This is not scary. This is like I forgot that we were chatting with a psychic, right?
Yeah,
it's not
literally.
It's not crazy at all. I want everyone to feel comfortable all the time.
Well, we love you. We're going to help spread the word because you do have a gift.
Yeah, I would love that, and I always take new clients. I just want people to know, like, your loved ones are with you. They want to talk to you. They want to be a part of your lives always, and they're always going to be here for you. And so sometimes I'm just that little validation you need.
Yeah.
If you already have it.
That's a great point.
We love that.
Thank you so much for coming here.
We could talk for a full show with Jessica. Maybe that.
We'll have a part 2.
We'll probably
part 2 for sure. Jessica, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate you.
We love you. And stick around too, because we have more coming on Spotlight New England.
Well, we always love checking out places around here in Rhode Island and all of New England. And recently, our coworker Megan actually brought she does a segment called Pups and Pubs.
So smart.
And she brought her little pup to a local place that she was raving about. So we wanted to share it here today. So here is Megan.
This place is
cool. At Grays on Main in our outdoor courtyard. We call it our little wine garden over here on Main Street in East Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Located across the iconic Odeum Theater, Grays on Main lives in the oldest standing building on Main Street in EG, originally constructed in 1770.
We say all the time that we're the only grass on Main Street. And it's kind of funny. I feel like everyone that dines around here, they sit on the sidewalk and eat. So we really wanted the space to feel more like a garden. So it's a little oasis carved out on Main Street.
Grays on Main is, well, you guessed it, all about the Grays boards.
Our charcuterie tower, that's our signature thing here. 3 tiers. It's always a statement when it's on the table, and people tend to share, pick, and enjoy them. The fig and onion pizza has been our most popular this spring. So we actually caramelize the onions in a port wine. So it has like this deep purple color, adds like a nice sense of sweetness to them. And then of course the fresh figs on top as well. We also had our burrata and hummus plate today, which is just probably our most popular appetizer. It's a burrata plate with a house-made hummus that we do.
And you can't have cheese without a bit of wine.
We focus on a lot of small production, organic, sustainable wines from like family-owned estates and things like that. And we actually just put some bubbly on tap here because we go through so much bubbly. We have both a red and a white bubbly here on tap. They're both organic wines from Italy.
They then take that bubbly and turn them into spritzes, like their limoncello spritz, and
we do something similar to like an Aperol spritz, but it's made with Solare, so there's no artificial coloring or dyes or anything like that.
Although Elise doesn't have a dog herself, she recognizes the importance of being able to bring them.
We really want people to enjoy their time, and most of the time they can't bring their dogs with them to do that, so it's nice to include their dogs.
Treats and water are provided, and if you're anything like me,
would you like a cucumber, sir? Be nice.
You won't be able to tell your dog no.
Good boy.
When it comes to the dog-friendly snacks on the charcuterie tower.
When I was a teenager, I used to say I was going to own a little cafe by day, wine bar by night. So it's not exactly that, but I think it's evolved into something close to that.
Looks so
cute.
good.
So
Thank
good.
you for joining us today, and we will see you next time.